The fans are ready for a change, and in case you don't believe me, I brought one of their fans into our studio this morning. Heather Dinich, who should the quarterback of the Steelers be?
Kenny Pickett.
Hello.
100%.
Why?
Well, because Mitch Trubisky is not comfortable in the pocket. He looks like he's nervous about keeping his job, because he should be, because he's got a #1 draft pick behind him, who sources tell me people on the team really like. So when you look at his footwork, it's really poor. Guys, Pittsburgh couldn't get a first down on their last 2 possessions. If he can't rectify this against Myles Garrett, it's time to make a change.
What do you think, Kmart? Because yesterday, Mike Tomlin, we had some sound from him saying that he's exercising patience.
Yeah.
But they play a Thursday night. We all know what that means. It means they get 10 days off before their next game. If you're going to make a quarterback change, that might be a reasonable time to do it.
So Mike Tomlin, going into the season, was always going to be Trubisky. You named him a captain. So right there, you're like, okay, this is... What you thinking over
Why are you laughing at that?
What is that about? But the goal, the intention was to be patient. But with all the chance for Kenny Pickett, even in the preseason games, you knew that Mitch Trubisky was going to be on a short leash. And the issue with Money Mitch was that you've got to keep the rookie at bay. Like, you have to play well. He's talking about, I need to throw the ball downfield. We need more opportunity. Well, just throw passes that actually hit receivers, like actually do the job. Because fans right now, like, the Steelers have the worst passing offense in the NFL. Like, that's not going to satiate this fan base, obviously.
Chris Canty, why were you laughing at the captaincy?
No, I'm just laughing because we're trying to anoint Mitch Trubisky, and all he did was spend a year in Buffalo as a backup quarterback, and we're all of a sudden assuming that he's better than when he was in Chicago.
But you're saying, off of some preseason games, we know that Kenny Pickett should suddenly supplant Mitch Trubisky. It's sort of like there's been such a small sample size with both of these guys.
No, what I know is Kenny Pickett can't be worse than Mitch Trubisky in what we've seen. He can't be. Listen, in the second half of that game against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense had 60 total yards of offense. On Sunday against the New England Patriots, they had 20 total yards of offense in the fourth quarter. That is god-awful. You don't have to practice to go out there and do that. They have the second fewest first downs through 2 weeks in the National Football League. All I'm simply saying is Kenny Pickett can't be worse. Why lose with Mitch Trubisky when...
You can lose with Kenny Pickett.
Listen. Why lose with Mitch Trubisky when you can play Kenny Pickett, and even if he struggles early on, you at least get the benefit of your franchise quarterback gaining some experience and being able to develop on the job.
That's not always a benefit. Putting your franchise quarterback out there in a bad situation is not always a benefit. We don't know that Kenny Pickett is a franchise quarterback, but what I do know, because I respect offense and defensive linemen, is that no single quarterback can drop in a situation and all of a sudden it all gets better. The Steelers' offensive line hasn't been terrible this year, but based on what I've seen last year and some of those clips we saw right there and what I project this offensive line to be, I don't think that you can drop Kenny Pickett in there and they're going to skyrocket. I think that you have to take into account that there's some risk that comes with putting Kenny Pickett in the game. There are some quarterbacks that are ruined because they are put in situations and we require more of them. And they get in there and they get panicky and they try to do more. They don't learn to read a defense. They are running for their lives, and I think that's the concern with putting Kenny Pickett in there on this team.
But if plan A doesn't work, you got to go to plan
There
B.
you go, Heather. There you go. You just have to. That's the point. We're clearly seeing it not work with Mitch Trubisky. And Dom, I get it. There is risk associated with it. But we've seen young quarterbacks in the past be able to overcome shaky offensive lines. I mentioned Joe Burrow last year. He was the most sacked quarterback in his first full season in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, the same thing. You look at Kyler Murray, the same thing. So we've seen young quarterbacks. Let me finish. Let me finish. We've seen young quarterbacks be able to overcome it. It is a risk because you could go the opposite way. David Carr had the career knocked out of him in his first year as a starter down with the Texans. So it can happen. All I'm simply saying is you have to weigh that versus punting on your season with Mitch Trubisky continuing to be your quarterback.
Look, if it keeps going like this, I think we all acknowledge the change is going to be made. It's just a question of when. So how much patience are you suggesting they should have?
I think Kimberly laid it out good. We wait for the bye week, but I wish that the Steelers...
week 8 or 9.
I wish the Steelers offense was as efficient as Heather is today. She's come in with like 3 words and nailed the entire, like, each ethos of all the Steelers fans. If plan A doesn't work, go to plan B. That was the thing that got me thinking maybe I'm wrong because you're right. Plan A isn't working, so maybe they should do something different.
Well, nobody should be surprised they lost Ben Roethlisberger. Like, this is a quarterback change for a program that is significant, and there's going to be some disruption.
I also feel like we don't talk about Kenny Pickett like he was a first-round draft pick. He was a first-round draft pick in the NFL draft. Just because it wasn't a quarterback-rich draft and some people weren't that high on him, he's a first-round pick. He's going to get on the field. It's just a question of when. Maybe it's a week from Sunday. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.